Okay, so why don't you just walk me through what happened on during ETH Denver, which was Feb 13 or 14. That was one long sleepless night for you guys, and then the second hack.
Yeah, so we'd come home from the first day of ETH Denver. We were at like the compound TBTC after party, kind of hanging out with people and all of that. And yeah, we noticed something really weird happen with the ETH pool, and the interest was super high. We had somebody so it was like Ryan at Zero Collateral DeFi. He was like, "Oh man, look at the interest rates on Fulcrum. You know, so great. I want to get in on that." And I was like, "Wow, yeah, that's a really interesting interest rate." But it made me feel a little bit uneasy. And so I talked to Tom, and I'm like, "Hey, this seems weird." And then we got alerted to, hey, basically there was this huge attack, and the way that it happened, and so we took a taxi home, sobered up, started working right away. It feels very strategic that they got us like at the after party at ETH Denver. Um, so started working right away. Basically, we worked through the night with people like Sam ZZ Sun and like Lev and Palco at Symbolic Capital. It was such a sophisticated attack that, like, I mean, it really took like all of us working all night um, to like actually crack this thing, like, and unravel like where did this thing actually go wrong. I also had people who were like, God, oh, how can they not, how come it's taken so long for them to figure it out? They wanted us to have it in like a few hours, but they didn't realize like, and it wasn't even just us, like, Peck Shield, almost every security researcher was on it. And, we were the first ones to crack it, but like it was a really tricky one because we had never really seen anything quite like this before. And it required understanding quite a few protocols. And the problem in our protocol was actually like fairly esoteric, and how some flag got got misflagged way up the logic stack, and it caused something far lower down to get misflagged. But anyway, so what happened was that they were able to make a very large trade through Uniswap. And what this ended up doing was this ended up just creating just a massive amount of slippage, huge amount. And what they were able to do was atomically harvest that slippage as profit. So, like, normally what would happen is if somebody tried to do something that big and they hit that much slippage, the trade would revert, right? So, like, it would be like, hey, at the end of this trade, you didn't have enough collateral. So, like, you can do anything you want at the beginning, but like at the very end, we check, like, hey, is your loan properly collateralized? And they were able to bypass this check. And, like, essentially they kind of went down like the code for like a torque loan rather than like the fulcrum loan that we were like expecting them to have, and that they actually did take out in the first place. So this is what happened. And so they caused that huge slippage, came back around, arbed the Uniswap pool, harvested it as profit, and then they got away. And so that was basically due to a bug in the code. We thought about it long and hard. Uh, you better believe, and and basically, we do believe that better testing, better processes, um, testing and fuzzing, all these different tools like Slither, Echidna, Manticore. If we had been hitting our protocol with all of those things, we do think we could have prevented this type of thing from happening. Some context, we are like kind of a smaller player with less funding compared to maybe some of the people we were competing with. We had a lot of pressure to move fast. Like, our competitors are like some of the biggest names in the industry with Coinbase backing in San Francisco. And, we were not, and we felt a lot of pressure to move very quickly. And, in retrospect, we should have moved slower. We wish we did move slower, and we will move slower. And
Okay, and then the second attack, what was that?
so the second attack,
When was
you
that?
know, we went up to ETH Denver. We were the sponsors of the ETH Denver ski lodge retreat, and so we had come up there. We had gone. It was snowing. We walked to a restaurant, and we ordered a bunch of food, big meals, like $100. They brought out all the food, and Tom has his phone out, and he notices a weird transaction, and he traces it. And the moment the food hits the table, Tom gets up. He says, "We've been hacked, and we got to go, and we just have to leave all of this food right on the table." And and so I just pay the whole bill, and I just walk out. The whole table of pristine food. The people serving in the restaurant must think we're just like the biggest jerks in the world. And so it's snowing, and we basically start sprinting home. And we get there, and we analyze it. We send it off to Kane Warwick. We send it to Sam Zizi's son. We send it to Palkio. We send it to Lev. We send it to all these people. And it's just like we thought. They did this really weird attack where they like Synthetics SUSD, the Uniswap um, depot. It has like a limit on trade sizes, but apparently that really does very little. And they just kept slamming it with the same trade size over and over and over again until they were able to make it go offline. And then once they had made it go offline, they were able to completely manipulate and automate the Uniswap price reserve. They were able to just come in, do whatever they wanted to it, and manipulate our Oracle. So this used kind of, I mean, in retrospect, it seems obvious, I suppose, but us, the Kyber guys, Sam ZZ Sun, a lot of people thought over the attack vectors of how we were set up on Kyber, and nobody really thought up the idea of like, oh, let's just, every Fed price reserve, if we just hit it over and over and over and over and over again, we can actually make it go silent, so we can get to the like Uniswap type reserves that are hiding behind there and then would be vulnerable. So we had kind of thought like, oh, as long as we have this Fed price reserve, we would be fine. And what the attacker showed was that assumption was not correct, and that actually all of our reserves were vulnerable to this general pattern of attack. And that's why we took the entire thing offline, and we didn't come back for quite a while until we had a new Oracle solution. While it would have been, when we first were developing, we kind of had the choice between a fully centralized Oracle um, and Kyber, I suppose you could say. In retrospect, we should have gone for the fully centralized Oracle and waited for better decentralized alternatives to come about. And we didn't, and that was a mistake, but one that we've learned from.